All right. And after a very brief hiatus, we have here none other than our mighty political correspondent from Canberra, Justin Lawman. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. We missed you last week, my friend.
Mate, and to be quite honest, I'm still sick.
Oh, no.
I just talking with producer Shell. Ever since COVID, was it the vaccines? I used to go 10 years and not have a cold, and now I've got one every 10 days. It's just crazy.
That is crazy. Well, we're glad to have you here with us because a lot has been happening on the world, and I'm wondering here, what have you been observing? What are the news the headlines that are calling your attention here from a biblical perspective?
Always the hardest thing for me, guys, is what do I not include, because there's massive things going on every day. But I think if we put it in light of what's significant to end time events is how I always get influenced. And I think the United States is always at the epicenter of what's going to go down right at the end. And to me, the biggest story floating around today is one that you may not even hear much about, which is the trade war between China and the USA, which has just reignited in a significant way because of China restricting the sale of rare earth minerals.
Oh, wow. Why is that a big deal? First of all, what do they use these rare earth minerals for, and why is China deciding to cut short the supplies?
Well, you guys would know more about this than me. It's in electronics and particularly for weapon systems that they need this, and this is why it's a big deal. And Trump has been trying to secure this no matter what, and I think we've come to the point now where Trump has taken this personally, which I think he starts to behave differently when he gets to that point. So watch this space. Rare earths are essential for, electric cars, but any electronic system, and modern weapons are really, it's essential for their production.
Basically everything that needs a battery, that has a battery or any electronic component will need rare earths. And China has an immense stock of that, and the U.S. has been dependent on them for that for a long time.
The problem with them, we have plenty of them here in Australia, but refining them and processing the raw materials is where the world's become dependent on China. We couldn't do it as cheap as them, so everyone just ships it to them and let them do it. So they now have the market, and let me tell you, this is the market that matters. And the fact they have done what they've done now to Trumpy Bear is really not going to go down well with him, and I think this is something to watch this week and how this develops, because it has potential to be very, very significant.
Yeah. It looks like all the nations are in uproar and they're raging, and looks like war is raging already in all fronts except the kinetic ones. But as far as trade and politics is concerned, they're not seeing eye to eye. No,
not at all. And so some kinetic ones arced up over the weekend. Pakistan was attacked by the Taliban of Afghanistan, and so Pakistan have now responded, and they've taken back all these border crossings and places that were held by the Afghan forces. So they have got stuck in. I don't know what that's about, but they're having some skirmish and fight now over there in the Middle East.
And what's happening with the peace deal that I know that a lot of people are talking about it. Is peace going to come to between Israel and Palestine? What's your take on that, Justin? And what was Donald Trump's participation of that in that?
Look, everyone's holding their breath today because they're expecting in the next how many hours that prisoners are going to be released. And this is a massive deal for Israel. And Trump, I think, as we're going to air this morning, is flying to Israel. And he's being hailed as a hero by the Israelis. That's going to really, he's going to love that. He's the modern Cyrus. I saw one big poster of calling Trump Cyrus. Um, so, look, it's a fantastic thing. I love it when wars stop and people can go back to living a peaceful life.
Yes, agreed.
I have to say, I think long term that this is not, I personally don't see this having a big future. I think the idea that Hamas will just pack up and leave now and they're not going to be involved is utterly naive. But, hey, at least they've got this current conflict to stop. And hopefully that they're saying there's 28 bodies, the remains of deceased hostages that they're going to exchange. I don't know how I'd feel about having that happen. And I don't know that we're ever really going to see a meaningful peace there. But Benjamin Netanyahu has really crossed Trump and he's offended Trump. I don't think he wants this peace deal, but he's had no choice. He's had to accept it. And the peace deal is what's going to go on. So
I just want to linger.
Let's hope that it holds.
Yeah, I just want to kind of linger around this topic because I think there's a lot of very interesting angles here, Justin. One of them, maybe from the political perspective, Benjamin Netanyahu posted on his social media that President Trump deserves to win the Nobel Prize of Peace because of that. But then the Nobel Prize Peace was just announced a couple of days ago, and Trump was not the winner. Have you looked into any of that?
How can you avoid it, mate? Maria Corina, is that her name? The lady that won?
Maria Corina.
And you know, she's quite a lady. She's got on Fox News and dedicated the win to Donald Trump, which she knows where her bread is buttered.
That's right.
She's the Venezuelan opposition leader. They've had, this Maduro's dictatorship over there for 26 years. And it looks like the US is on the verge of invading Venezuela. They've really shaped up militarily towards Venezuela, saying it's about drug cartels and the stopping of shipment. But they are really wanting to topple that government. So, she's a worthy winner of that award for sure. And Trump was he was pushing hard to win this. I don't like that. If you win something, that's great, but it's not something you should self-nominate for. And he pushed pretty hard to win this. He certainly has got some track record of doing deals. So you got to give the guy credit that he has really been able to pull off some big things. And this latest one in Gaza, it's a fantastic thing. And I pray it holds. But I tell you, there's fundamentally some stuff that hasn't changed. So we'll see what happens.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, some people were wondering here, with Hamas out of the way, does that mean that they can restart reconstructing the building? Because you know that there's a very strong Temple Mountain movement in Israel trying to. They already have all the furniture. They're just waiting for the right moment to rebuild and replace what is the Al-Aqsa Mosque in the Temple Mount for a third temple. And for a lot of Christianity, they see that this is where the prophecies are leading to. What's your perspective on that?
Hamas are on the streets this morning with rifles and machine guns. They haven't gone. And even though they'll say they won't have political power, they'll still be running the show like a pack of gangsters. So I don't know. I personally don't believe the temple will ever be rebuilt. Mm-hmm. I don't think God's going to allow that to happen. I know that they have a idea in prophecy, and I don't believe that's what the Bible teaches, that it will be. And by the way, that book you're offering this morning by Steve Wahlberg, he wrote a book I tried to buy a copy of it the other day. It was $98 for a paperback.
Oh, wow.
It's his first book called Exploding the Israel Deception. I think that's what it's called. It's his first book he ever did. It is an unreal biblical study on this topic. We really need to get that thing reprinted and get it out to people because it's become very expensive because they're a bit rare. Exploding the Israel Deception.
Oh, we're definitely going to see if we can find some. We actually had
Steve Wahlberg.
We had a special program as well, Danny Milenkov and I, where we dedicated the entire breakfast show just to explore these prophecies. Why do some people say that it is necessary for the third temple to be built, and what does the Bible actually say about it? So if you are interested, radio friend, let us know here. We can send you the link for that one. So Justin, what about Iran and, in that Iran-U.S. relationships? Do you think that there are still we might still see conflict coming from in that area, or do you think that
I don't see any
real
change? I don't really see any change. There's still the same powers involved. They've suppressed them. They've knocked them off their quest to build an atomic bomb and everything else. But at the end of the day, fundamentally, the forces are still the forces. It's like Ukraine and Russia. Are we any better off this morning? I don't know, man. It just seems to be getting more and more convoluted. So Iran, it's China and its power and its influence with both Russia and Iran. I really think the big power that's feeding everything is China-US relations. And those two are headed on a collision course. And until that gets resolved one way or another through economics, we pray it's economics and it's not kinetic. But it seems to me that that's the real power behind all these other ones at the moment.
Well, yes, absolutely. And all of these other conflicts, they ended up being proxies of these U.S.-China relations.
Exactly. Exactly, mate. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, so I saw some commentators saying that with the Gaza situation underway, it opens up possibility for Israel to launch military offensive against Iran. And from a geopolitical perspective, if Iran is out of the way, then if the U.S. gets into a kinetic fight with China, well, they have one less thing to worry about. Because Iran
under this peace deal, Turkey is supposed to come down and be the military force that keeps the peace. Now, Turkey is a part of they have Ottoman Empire still rolling in their head that they have been very involved in taking Syria, and they are not mates with Iran, really. So I don't know that this is getting in any revolutionary way better. I just think it's the next chapter in a very long saga.
Absolutely. And the last topic, last but not least here, the Republic of North Korea was celebrating 80 years from since the Un family started to rule the country. And they celebrated that in a very Kim Jong-un-esque military parade. And guess what was the highlight? Was the have you seen the videos coming from that military parade?
No, mate, I've missed that one. In
the military parade, the highlight was they were displaying the missile, the Hwasong, I believe 21, which is their latest and greatest ballistic missile. And the worrying thing about this ballistic missile is that it has a 15,000 kilometer range. So basically, It can reach anywhere in the continental territory of the United States, and they are just touting that and showing to the entire world. I think that they're also through China is through them passing a message to the United States saying we're dangerous and we have dangerous friends.
And that word proxy and China absolutely belong there. And we live in a very dangerous time. Everyone is spending more and more of their budgets, the nations, on military arms. We're building up to something here. And we pray it's resolved soon and it's not kinetic, because we don't want to go anywhere near a kinetic war with China.
Absolutely. Justin Lawman, thank you so much. All the best with your health recovery. We're looking forward to have you again with us on our next show.